Hello everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Let's Play Ace Attorney Investigations Miles Edgeworth Prosecutor's Path, episodes 1 through 5 beta. I'm Chief. So, there was a bit of a gap between my most recent video and this video, which I guess by the time it goes up will be the most recent video. The reason for that is that I actually first tried to record this episode a couple of days ago, and I came across a part of the case that I don't want to spoil, but that basically, I guess, was tougher to emulate than one might expect. You know, emulation is kind of, it's like, as I understand it, it's a more taxing process on your computer than a lot of people realize. So this particular sequence, even though it was really cool in the game, actually was so processor intensive that it caused my CPU to overheat and my computer crashed. So, you know, that was about halfway through the episode, and I obviously wasn't able to continue after that point, because I had to think of a way to be able to actually record this part of the episode without that happening again. So now, basically, I have some monitoring technology running on my other monitor, my other screen, which is showing that currently my CPU is at 150 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a little hot, but it's not, you know, when it crashed it was at about 190. So I am going to be monitoring it very carefully and making sure that we don't get up into the crash zone, you know. Excuse me. And basically, if it seems like that happens again, excuse me. What's kind of bothering me? If it seems like that happens again, it's going to happen again. I'm just going to shut the whole thing down, and then I'm going to see about, like, maybe if I can kind of just take screenshots of that sequence and narrate over them, because I really want to continue this Let's Play, but, you know, obviously, I'm not going to ruin my computer in order to do that. So, hopefully this works and I'm not recording all this for nothing. We'll see. Okay. So now, let's very carefully find out what's going to happen next in this case. Do you think there was a way Mr. Knightley could have brought the chisel into the prison? The method Knightley used to bring the chisel into the prison was... Unfortunately, now I already know some of this. Normally, metal objects can't be brought into the detention center or the prison. Oh, and I'm sorry about... There's some additional background noise. And that's because I have all of my computer's fans running at full speed. And I also have just my personal, like, the fan for my room pointing directly into my tower and turned on high. So hopefully this will work. Normally, metal objects can't be brought into the detention center or the prison. They'd just be caught by the security gate. However, there is one way to avoid this, and that is if they're sent in a package to the detention center. That gate is only used on people. In other words, packages sent to the detention center undergo a simpler check. So they don't use a metal detector for that. This never should have happened. It seems the guards were too careless. Knowing this, Knightley asks Simon to send him a package, namely a chessboard containing the chisel. Well, this has solved one of our problems. The fact that the chisel was not Mr. Dogan's but Mr. Knightley's. Chessboard data updated in your organizer. Given this, one major issue remains. The security camera shows a dog attacking the victim. As long as that exists, I will maintain that Dogan is the killer. But Dogan never touched the murder weapon. I'm stumped. We also desire a conclusion to this matter.
Mr. Edgeworth, we can use one of my secret weapons, sir. Secret weapon number 4, the video analyzing machine, Mr. Analysis.
What's with that ridiculous name?
I named it myself, sir. This will let us analyze video footage in detail.
Go ahead. You'll soon see I'm not lying. I don't know what will come of this, but all we can do now is investigate.
Mr. Edgeworth, do you know how to use Mr. Analysis?
A video analysis machine. Should I hear how to use it? So I learned how to use this in the previous episode, so I'm going to say don't hear this explanation. Basically, it just works like a VCR. You can play, you can rewind, fast forward, and then also you can advance or regress frame by frame. And so you'll see exactly how we're going to use those tools coming up. I see no particular need for an explanation.
Yes, sir. Alright, let's turn on Mr. Analysis and get started.
Okay, we're up to 155 degrees for the CPU. Not panicking yet. Let's go.
Use Mr. Analysis to examine any suspicious part of the video, sir.
This is the video from the detention center's camera. I believe this was the moment when Knightley was being attacked by the dog. If that wasn't the case, then what does it show? Is the person in this video really Knightley? And what is the true form of the black silhouette attacking this person? I should check the video and try to find the answers to these two questions.
There could be unexpected things in unexpected places. So be sure to check every nook and cranny of the video, sir.
Okay, here we go. What part of the video is strange? Oh god, okay, we're at 159. 158. Okay, so here's the video playing. I'm trying to keep track of two things at once. Okay, we're starting over. So if I recall correctly, we want to kind of zoom in here. Okay, you know what? I gotta zoom out and rewind. Maybe just start over. Okay, 159, 159. $159, 156. Nothing here. I should have another look at the video. Maybe I'll find something if I make use of this zoom feature. Oh, okay, I guess you have to zoom. Okay. Damn. Like, I know what I'm looking for, but I don't remember exactly how I found it. Maybe if we do. Okay, no. Damn. Basically, I'm trying to discern... Well, I don't want to spoil it. Fuck, we're for 161. A reflection of this person can be seen in the mirror. Is that a cap on his head?
Actually, it looks kind of like the caps the prison guards wear, sir. You don't think it was a guard who was attacked?
Have you received a report of any guards being attacked by an animal?
No, not that I've heard, sir.
Then it was someone else wearing a guard's uniform. I see. I have evidence that shows what this cap is. It is. It's the stolen uniform. There was no report of a guard being attacked by an animal. However, we did hear that a guard's uniform was stolen. Putting two and two together, I'd say this was a disguise for the purpose of a prison escape.
Disguised as a guard? That sounds like it could have been successful, sir. Speaking of prison escapes...
Uh-oh, okay, we're climbing up in the temps a little bit. Let's just let it hang out for a sec here. To 163, 164, uh-oh, 163. What is this fan even doing? Okay, 159. Indeed, that person certainly was successful. If the person in this video is not knightly, then perhaps that black shadow is not a dog either.
If you zoom in, you should be able to see its real shape, sir.
What part of the video is strange? Okay. This should be easier. And it's a really cool reveal. Oh, come on. Yes, there is. You don't know. Blah, 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 blah. I should try searching again. Yeah, I know. Alright. What part of the video is strange? Ugh. Okay. I guess you probably have to zoom in. I don't know why I didn't do that. Ah, fuck me. I went too far. I wish we could just rewind. I guess you can really only do that frame by frame. Stop! Okay. Aha. Come on. This is... I fear we have made a grave miscalculation. This animal, this silhouette, no matter how you look at it, is not a dog. So my theory, this is as far as I've gotten, right? This is when it crashed last time. So I'm hoping, and I'm crossing both fingers and toes here and crossing my eyes, I'm really hoping that we're past the worst of it and I won't have to keep monitoring it like this, but I'm going to anyway. I think that this is the bear. I think this is Elbert's bear that's attacking them, or attacking the guard. I mean, if you look at the silhouette, it kind of makes sense, but I guess we'll see. This animal is... yeah. From the silhouette, I'd say the animal is not a dog, but a bear. So then, in that photo I took, those footprints must have belonged to this bear, yes. Tunnel footprints data updated in my organizer.
Did you say a bear?
Yes, that man is the first to come to mind. We were all under the impression that the person in this video is knightly. But it's his cell after all. Why would it be anyone else? That line of logic no longer holds. Remember the tunnel under his bed? It's possible whoever used this tunnel is the one in this video. It seems it is time to answer that question. Just who is the person in this video? The person in this video is... okay, I'm going to say Elbert. The person wearing the guard's uniform is... the escaped prisoner J. Elbert. The probability is extremely high. And so am I. His pet is a polar bear cub. But the bear here is black. We have evidence that can explain this matter. The reason the polar bear became black is... okay, what do we have, like coal? Oh! Oh, the mud. Think back to Frank Sorit's testimony. That's the rubber glove I dropped. Where did the mud on this glove come from? Ah, that's the mud from my mud packs. At the time I was practicing applying my mud packs. Could you tell me when this took place on the day of the incident? Since the animal show had started, I'd say it was around 9 a.m. The mud packs turned the animals' bodies pitch black, and my heart was pure white. I was totally engrossed with covering the animals in mud. He's such a fun character to voice. During the animal show, Mr. Sorit was applying mud packs to the animals. So then, among those animals was this polar bear, yes. Prosecutor Edgeworth, there is a huge contradiction in your argument. The security camera footage... Judge Courtney, you are quite right. Sorit used the mud packs during the animal show. Knowing this, a new contradiction in the video comes to light. A new contradiction? Okay, do you know when this footage was taken? It was after the mud packs were used. That would put it around 9 a.m. In that case, you should notice something strange about this video. Huh? What's strange about it? The strange thing that contradicts the time this video is taken is... oh man, fuck, we're back, okay. Huh. Oh, duh. The timer. Take that! The time Sorit covered the polar bear in mud was around 9 a.m., which means this video should also have been taken at 9 a.m. However, the timestamp reads 6 a.m. On that day, the prisoners went to the courtyard to watch the animal show. At this time, only 3 people remained behind: Dogan in the special cell, Sorit in the workroom applying his mud packs, and the one who put his escape plan in motion at that moment, J. Elbird. Elbird left the polar bear in Sorit's care and entered the secret tunnel. However, the bear escaped from Sorit and followed after its owner. And just as he was chasing after the escaped bear, Sorit happened to witness the dog pulling the murder weapon out of the body. If Sorit's testimony is correct, this video must have been taken at around 9 a.m. However, the timestamp is off by 3 hours. Why would the timestamp be off like that? Detective Gumshoe, I'd like you to examine the security camera.
Sorry to keep you waiting, sir. I asked all the guards and... It seems the camera's power was cut off for a moment, throwing off the timestamp.
What?
The camera's an old model, so if it loses power, the camera's an old model, so if it loses power, the clock stops as well.
In that case, this means the camera's power was cut for 3 hours. Security camera data updated in my...
While I'm at it, I got some more information for you, sir. You heard that Knightley denied stealing the key, right? It seems nobody would believe the words of a criminal, but... Knightley testified I was knocked out too.
That may not necessarily be a lie. My. There you all are. Making progress in your investigation? Can I be of any help? Actually, Warden Rowland, there is something we must report to you. The escaped prisoner, J. Elbird, is most likely still inside the prison. He has disguised himself. Here is the proof. The person visible in this security video is Elbird. So perhaps he's still in this very building. Come to think of it, didn't Mr. Elbert have a bracelet like the other prisoners? The bracelet... Oh, whoops. The bracelet would have been concealed under the uniform sleeves. Moreover, the prison's main gate does not have a sensor to detect bracelets. All he would have to do is avoid any doors with sensors inside the prison. That's right. So if he didn't enter the cells or the workrooms, could one of you guys be J. Elbird? Hey. Ah, Rocky. Ha.
Stop it. What are you doing?
It would seem that Rocky has answered that question for us.
No! Rocky, this is all your fault.
The little guy loves you so much, it's enviable. Right then, seize him at once. Wait, there's something we must hear from this prisoner. It's necessary if we are to find the truth. I'd like permission to interrogate him. Understood.
Oh, what do you want out of me?
Elbird's escape route is linked to Knightley's cell. So it's highly likely he knows something about the crime. I'd like to ask you about the day the body was found.
So it was you guys. You were the ones who found my secret tunnel. It took me ages to dig that. The day the body was found was the day I had planned to escape. I was in disguise. Then, Rocky followed after me. But he was all covered in mud. I panicked and returned to my cell. Damn! If only you guys hadn't shown up! If only Knightley hadn't died!
You say you dug the tunnel. What did you use to dig it?
Oh, that. Just hammers and spoons. Stuff like that. I bought them from the supplier, but it was all for nothing.
No need to lose your temper. There's always next time. On the day of the incident, it's possible that Elbird met Knightley while he was alive. I'll have to listen to his testimony carefully. Okay.
Alright.
So, okay. So let me look through all this and try to think if I have any stuff I can press, or that I can present. The day the body was found was the day I had planned to escape from the skies. Then Rocky followed after me. He was all covered in mud. I panicked and returned to my cell. Let's press him.
So it was you guys. You were the ones who found my secret tunnel.
You...
Shut up! What's with that hold it, punk?
You say you dug...
What's it to you? You know how long it took me to dig that? I had to beg the supplier for those tools. Day after day I slaved away. Give me back my hard work. Give it back, you son of a...
I can't get a word in edgewise.
You can't just go around discovering people's... you... you can't just go around discovering people's holes. It took me ages to dig that.
So, you dug that hole alone?
You're damn right I did.
Could a tunnel like that really be dug by one person? Wow, such a wasted effort.
A kid like you wouldn't understand. Never rely on others. Never let others see you. Those are the rules we live by in here.
Well, as a great thief, I kinda see where you're coming from. Kay, don't agree with him. Ah, no, I was just joking.
Well, I wasn't. Damn, why'd it come to this? The day the body was found was the day I had planned to escape. I was in disguise.
Did you obtain the guard's uniform from the supplier, too?
Yeah, that's right. Seems he got it by threatening the guard. That guy went and stole it from someone's locker.
So when you went through the tunnel, you were already dressed like a guard?
No. To ensure that the clothes wouldn't get stained with mud, I carried them with me. Once I got out of the hole and changed clothes, getting out of the cell doors was simple. And that's when Rocky ran up and jumped on me.
That must be the moment the security camera captured. I see. Could you add that to your testimony?
Once I got out of the hole and changed clothes, getting out of the cell doors was simple.
Okay, once I got getting out of the cell doors, but he never. Okay, but he never got. Oh fuck! I didn't want to. Man, I fat fingered that. Mr. Elbert, I'd like you to take a look at this piece of evidence. It looks like Mr. Elbert's busy chasing a fly. He's not listening at all. He doesn't feel like listening. In that case, I'll make him pay attention with a straight punch. Yeah, let's settle this. Okay. So what fuck. Wait, stop. Once I got out of the hole and changed... Okay, let's press it. Getting out of the cell door was simple, you say?
Yeah. Compared to going through the tunnel, it was very simple.
You inhabit a prison, yet you seem to know the layout of the detention center quite well.
What's so wrong about that? Sure, I've been to the detention center too.
In that case, he should have known about it from the start. When Knightley was in his cell, the door would have been locked, which means there was one piece of evidence Elbert needed to escape. Oh, the keys. Sweet. You say it was simple getting through the cell door.
Yeah, that's right. You got a problem with that, huh?
Even though you managed to arrive at Knightley's cell, opening the door wasn't so simple. How did you intend to unlock the cell door? Haha. J. Elbert, you had the key to Knightley's cell.
I ain't got nothing like that. That's it. It was open. It was already unlocked when I got there.
Indeed, the cell was vacant after Knightley's death, which is why, at the time we conducted our investigation, it was unlocked. Your successful escape attempt occurred after Knightley's death, so the door would have been open. However, you had tried to escape once before then. The plan was foiled thanks to Rocky. The video shows it. Yes, that was during the animal show, before Knightley's death was known. And the cell door was locked because no one knew he was dead. Without the key to Knightley's cell, your escape would have been impossible. That means it can't be. It's exactly what you think. In the case of the stolen key, the culprit is J. Elbert. You were the one who attacked the guard, weren't you? The guard, and Knightley too, in order to steal the cell key.
It wasn't me. I don't know any Knightley.
After stealing the key, return to your cell as a precautionary measure. Then you waited for a time when the prison would be mostly vacant. That was just before Knightley's death became known. In other words, during the animal show. But in the end, the plan was foiled thanks to Rocky.
Don't screw with me. If you don't have evidence, I'll still win by decision. Besides, it was that Knightley guy who attacked the guard, right?
I think not. Regarding the theft of the keys, Knightley was the victim. This proves Knightley was the victim who was attacked in his cell. Maybe wipe floor?
Take that!
Ooh, in Knightley's cell, there were traces of his blood, which had been wiped away. I believe this is more than enough proof Knightley was attacked in his cell. You attacked those two people and stole the key, didn't you?
Oh, damn! I never thought you'd find the blood stain I wiped away with the newspaper.
Why would you go through all the trouble of wiping the bloodstain?
On the hands of Knightley and the guard, there were obvious signs of a scuffle, you know. If the bloodstains were uncovered, they'd find out there was another attacker. And if anyone looked around the bed, the tunnel I dug would be discovered.
So you were trying to buy more time for your escape attempt. But I'm afraid to say your plan still ended in failure. Now then, hand over the keys to Knightley's cell.
Damn it! No way. How could an amateur like you knock me out? Here, I got the keys right here.
Knightley's cell key data updated in my Hold it. If you have that key, then that means... That's right, Judge Courtney. You reasoned that Knightley stole the key and used it to leave his cell. From there, he entered Mr. Keyes' cage and was moved to the workroom. However, the very foundation of that hypothesis has collapsed. Ah! How? I see. In that case, there was only one person who could have moved Knightley. The criminal must have been someone who knew about the secret tunnel.
Hey, are you suggesting... J. Elbert, you're under arrest, pal! Well, wait! I didn't do nothing! Sure, I knocked out those two guys, then I stole the keys, and after that, I waited for the perfect time to enter that guy's cell. But the cell was empty then. There was no dead body either. And also, how could I have gotten into the workroom? I couldn't even leave my own cell, right?
It's true, you only had the keys to Knightley's cell. But there's also Dogan's dog.
What?
It'd be possible for the dog to carry the body from the cell to the workroom. I see. So you're saying there was an accomplice. The crime would have been possible if Elbert and Dogan were working together. It's perfectly plausible. Somehow Elbert managed to carry Knightley's body to his own cell.
And then the dog must have carried it to the workroom.
Yes, because all the animals can move freely in the prison. But that's not the case for the path between the detention center and the prison. The only one who could use that route was you, J. Elbert.
What if there was another route that you didn't know about?
There couldn't have been. The tunnel is a straight path, is it not?
Yeah, seems like it. I didn't have enough time to dig any more than I did. I only dug halfway up the corridor.
What? You mean to say you didn't dig the entire tunnel?
When I got to that cell, the tunnel was already there. There was a tunnel linking my cell to the well. Looking down the well from the courtyard, there's no mistaking it. They've always been connected. I just continued the tunnel with my digging.
What was that hole doing there in the first place?
Who knows? Maybe another inmate dug it in an attempt to escape.
Or maybe the animals dug it. Maybe they wanted to drink from the well. That's highly doubtful.
There's no water in that well anymore. It's all dried up. Wait a minute. That's it. For some reason, that well gave off a nice scent.
A nice scent?
I don't know what it was, but it smelled sweet like candy.
This scent. I believe we've come across it before. We know this scent from... Knightley's body was giving off a sweet candy-like scent. We used a police dog to track that scent. And that led us to discover the tunnel. By any chance, could this be the same scent as the well? Prosecutor Edgeworth, I know what you're trying to say. That the scent proves the body was carried down through the tunnel. Exactly. And, J. Elbird, you were the only one who could have used the tunnel. Thank you, Mr. Elbird. I am very grateful to you. At last, the truth comes to light. Mr. Elbird, wouldn't it be wise to confess now? To being an accomplice, I mean.
Don't tell me even you suspect me too.
Judge Courtney, it seems you and I have come to the same conclusion. Not at all. Our thoughts on this matter are still quite different. Mr. Elbird was certainly an accomplice, but an accomplice to Horace Knightley. What do you mean? Mr. Elbird did not move the body. He simply lent the victim his keys. What? It would seem Mr. Elbird did indeed strike Mr. Knightley on the head. However, Mr. Knightley was not knocked out. The two must have made a little negotiation. Negotiation? For Mr. Knightley's escape plan to work, he would have needed the keys to his cell. So Mr. Elbird stole them from the guard. On the other hand, for Mr. Elbird to escape, he needed to get to Mr. Knightley's cell. But if Mr. Knightley had seen him and yelled, the plan would have gone down the drain. And so, they negotiated.
I didn't negotiate nothing.
Oh? You still intend to deny it? I see. So, in other words, we're back to where we started. Mr. Elbird opened the cell door, and Mr. Knightley entered Mr. Keyes' cage. And then he was moved into the prison. Of course! And then he was killed in the prison workroom! Weren't you listening? The scent on the body shows it must have been moved through the tunnel. Knightley was moved from the detention center through the tunnel. Please wait until someone is finished before speaking. I do not claim that he wasn't moved through the tunnel. What? You don't? The scent shows that the body was moved through the tunnel. However, that does not mean it came from the detention center. What do you mean? That sure sounds like a contradiction to me. Isn't there one more possibility? The well in the courtyard. It's possible the body was dropped down from there. The courtyard. Ah! The well in the courtyard! Mr. Keyes carried the cage not to the workroom, but to the courtyard. Mr. Knightley was killed in the courtyard and his body was dropped down the well. And then the body at the bottom of the well was moved by Mr. Dogan's dog. Now, there's one thing I'd like you all to remember. Before the body was discovered, what was happening in the courtyard? The animal show, right? Regina and Simon were there. Wait, Simon? Ah! I see you understand. Who then dropped the body down the well? Judge Courtney. She's a tough opponent. Her flexible way of thinking enables her to adapt and come up with her own deductions. Mr. Knightley was not carried to the workroom, but to the courtyard. And Mr. Keyes was off stage for 15 minutes. This was when he dropped Mr. Knightley down the well. It's as simple as that. Judge Courtney, your reasoning is sound, I'll admit that. However, let's say the body was dropped down the well. That didn't have to be done during the show. It could have happened at a different time. Unfortunately for you, Prosecutor Edgeworth, that is not possible.
What?
When the show started, Mr. Elbird was in the tunnel, on his way to the cell block. Mr. Elbird, at that time, did you happen to see a body in the tunnel?
Nope. Nothing like that.
So, if the body had been dropped before the show, Mr. Elbird would have seen it. However, he has stated he did not see a body. So it is impossible to think the body was dropped before the show. And after the show, the body was discovered in the workroom. In other words, the body being dropped down the well and then moved to the workroom could only have been done during the show. And the only one who could have done it is Simon Keyes.
No!
Mr. Edgeworth, what should we do? If the body was moved through the well, that does put Mr. Keyes at a major disadvantage. However, the notion that the body was moved through the well is only a hypothesis. That doesn't mean there is evidence. I am obligated to recognize that fact. Will you allow me to investigate the courtyard once more? I give my approval in the name of the goddess of law. Reinvestigating the courtyard. I fear this may be our final chance. Oh, dang. Huh? What? Fire!
Could be another prison break, pal.
Should we evacuate? Everyone, please remain calm. This is just the signal for the evening meal. It's a little loud, so I can understand why you'd be surprised. It sure scared me. I'm terribly sorry. And with that, everyone, please return to your posts. J. Elbird, it's also time for you to return to your room.
I got it. Let's go, Rocky.
Warden Ronan, we will be proceeding to the courtyard for another investigation. Isn't it time for you to go home as well, Mr. Edgeworth? It looks like we're out of time. Why don't you continue this another time?
But the investigation!
Today's been a big day, right? With the escaped prisoner and all. So I'm afraid I can't let outsiders like you loiter around any longer. This is my decision as the warden of this prison. Looks like it can't be helped. The warden's word can be called the law of the prison. Prosecutor Edgeworth, this means we will have to carry out our investigation another day. Until then, you may hold on to your prosecutor's badge. And with that, I leave you. Now, I think it's time you all left. Well, looks like we'll have to continue the investigation tomorrow. Knightley's body was dropped down the well and was carried to the workroom from Mr. Elbird's cell. This is Judge Courtney's logic, but is it correct? And Judge Courtney claims that Mr. Keyes transported him, but was Mr. Keyes really the only one with a chance to move him? Mr. Edgeworth, let's do our best tomorrow. We have to save Simon no matter what. Indeed, I agree. I must prove Mr. Keyes' innocence without fail. To be continued. And we're going to go ahead and stop there. Fortunately, we made it through the episode without my computer exploding. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Next time, we'll come back to reinvestigate the courtyard, and hopefully Warden Roland, who I'm starting to wonder if she might be the culprit or involved in some way, hopefully she won't have fucked anything up, removed any evidence, anything like that. See you later!